Hi, my name is Solomon King. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video, I'll be sharing a simple productivity hack that I use. I like to use something called the Pomodoro Technique, which is essentially about clustering your time into small chunks. So what happens is that you set a timer for like 25 minutes, and then when those 25 minutes elapse, you set another timer for like a 5-minute break, during which you can do something else. So I like it because it allows me to sort of split my time into chunks and then manage those chunks accordingly. But I recently got a device, because there are lots of Pomodoro timers out there. Most of them are apps, but I wanted to use something physical that allows me a more tactile feel. So I'm going to be reviewing this device and I'll be sharing my thoughts about the Pomodoro technique as we go along. Enjoy. So for all my obsession with technology, I am actually a very analog person. I like things that are physical. So that's one of the reasons why I really love this physical calendar, which allows you to manually change the date and the time. And then the hourglass allows you to measure time by watching the sand flow through the hourglass. It's very cool. And to the person that got me this gift, thank you. You are amazing. The challenge with hourglass is, one, its time period is fixed, and it also means that I cannot get an alert whenever it runs out. But one of the things that it's really useful for is a Pomodoro technique, which was created to help people manage time. The entire thesis behind it is decide on a task that you want to do, set a timer for 25 minutes, focus on that work exclusively for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. After that 5-minute break, come back and focus again for 25 minutes and repeat that cycle. After 4 cycles, then you can take a longer break of 15 or 30 minutes. The Pomodoro technique is designed to give you flexibility, but consistency and focus. So I wanted something that would allow me to be able to choose a specific time or a specific amount of time that I wanted to work for or to rest for during the course of my day. It also allows me to manage my tasks between things that could be urgent, things that could be critical, or things that require me to stay more focused for much longer periods of time. So for example, during the course of my work, I will have certain segments of time for specific activities that require deep work, or I will have shorter periods of time for things like responding to emails, etc. So the Pomodoro technique really allows me to have deep focused chunks of work. It also allows me to sort of evaluate how much time I'm spending on other things. So for example, creating content for this YouTube channel requires me to very, very carefully measure how much time I'm spending on it so that I am not actually spending a lot more time than I plan to. So anyway, coming back to this device, it's essentially a very unremarkable box. I think it's one of those generic Chinese products that have no brand name, no nothing. They just sell you as it is. So it says Rotary LED digital timer, and on the side it tells you the things you can use it for. That's cooking, studying, exercise, gaming. It's just generic branding. On the back, it gives you the features, which again, very basic stuff. You know, the kind of unbranded Chinese products that you'd expect when you get off Amazon. And then on the side, it says you can use it in the kitchen or classroom or the gym, whatever. Inside it, you'll find the actual device itself in a polythene bag. I think it's an anti-static bag. And then you'll find the manual. The manual itself, again, is also very basic, very generic. There's nothing special. You can use the device without the manual. If you want to, you can read it. So the device itself is cylindrical, just as the word timer. Again, generic branding, no attempt at giving it a proper name. And then it has a small LED screen on the front. You'll see it when the battery comes on. And then on the back, there's a battery holder. So when you slide it out, you'll see 3 batteries that are protected by a polythene. I had already removed the polythene, so it's going to come out a little bit easily. But the polythene essentially protects the battery from making contact with the contacts before you actually unwrap it and use it. One thing that I noticed as I was putting in the batteries is that there are 3 magnets. You'll find 1 magnet on the bottom and then 2 magnets on the sides. And so those are really useful for like sticking onto metallic objects or in front of a fridge. So once you drop in the batteries, so the backup of the battery also has a magnet. Just want to demonstrate this a little briefly. You can see how it sticks to the screwdriver. And it comes in really handy, as you'll see a little bit later. So you flip that back and as soon as the batteries go in, the device is immediately ready to use. The back of the battery also doubles as a stand, which is really cool. So it allows you to stand on the desk very nicely. And that's it, that's just the front, and that's pretty much the device that you get. When you press the red button at the front, it begins counting down, which means that in some mode, you can use it as a stopwatch. So you just press it, it starts counting, and then when you're done, you press it again. One thing I did notice though is that it's not, the manufacturing quality is not very good. So sometimes you have to press a little bit harder than you'd like to, and it feels a little bit squeaky because it's plastic. I got it for really cheap. It was like $20 on Amazon. You'll find the link in the description. There's also a whole bunch of other types that you could check out. Yeah, so without the stand, it rolls around pretty easily, as you'd expect. So I think the addition of the stand as a support structure is really dope. So there's the protective screen, the protective cover for the screen. You peel that off, and then the device is pretty much ready to use. At the top, you have the set button, and then there's nothing else on the sides. So the little red dot on the front is what switches the device on and off. It's also what allows you to start the timer. The set button allows you to cycle between different preset times. So you have 5 minutes, you have 10 minutes, you have 15 minutes, and 30 minutes. And then any one of those you choose, and then it will start the counter. And that's pretty much what you use it for. Pick a time, start the counter, and that's it. And then it will alert you when it's done. One of the things that I really like that was really cool is that it has a rotary dial, which means that the top half of the device can actually be rotated clockwise or anti-clockwise to change the time. So I thought that was really cool. And it's one of the things that, attracted me to the device in the first place. So you can move clockwise to move the number of minutes forward, or move anti-clockwise to move the number of minutes back. And then when you're happy with the time, you press the start, and then it starts. You can also use the set buttons at the top to choose your preset times and then start, but you can then fine tune the details and get larger times based on your interests by rotating the dial back and forth. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but I think the maximum is 99 minutes and 55 seconds, which I think is more than adequate for a lot of needs. So the rotary dial allows you to fine tune and refine some of the time options that you have. So if you're doing a Pomodoro technique that requires 25 minutes of work and 10 minutes of rest, you can choose that, or 1 hour of work and 10 minutes of rest, or 5 minutes of rest. Whatever your time options are, you can keep going back and forth with this device, and it will serve you perfectly. And then when the time is up, the screen will flash and an alarm will sound. I really hate this alarm because it reminds me of waking up at school. These were the classic alarm clocks that we used to use in boarding school, and they just give me nightmares about waking up to read for the next exam. So I really wish there was an option to change the tone, but there isn't. Now on the back, you'll find options to change brightness of the LED. So I think this is really good for like night mode, like maybe you're trying to not have a very bright light in your room. So you can turn the brightness down. You can also tone down the audio so that it's either a silent alarm that just flashes the screen, or a full-blown alarm that then screams as loud as it can. But those are pretty much the only other options. As someone who likes to be very structured about work, I think this is going to be really helpful, and I'm trying to be more productive this year. So I got this particular device because I wanted something physical. I've used a lot of apps, and while they're really exciting to be on your phone, I just wanted something that could sit on my desk separate from the phone that I'm using, and just gives me this very analog feel to the work that I'm doing. Almost like how, the difference between marking off a checked item on an app versus crossing out something on a notebook. I just love that difference in feel. I'll be making these as and when devices come along, as and when I have some productivity tips. I'll be focusing mostly on the technology, mostly explaining science and tech, but every once in a while I'll be dropping some videos on how I use technology to improve my workflow, to improve my productivity. I hope you've liked this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends who might need it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Peace.